Swinging a ground ball, stabbed by Folk. He has it. He underhands to first, and the Boston Red Sox are the world champions. For the first time in 86 years, the Red Sox have won baseball's world championship. Can you believe it?
Welcome back, everybody, to the Fenway Files. This is episode number 12. I realized over the weekend that my episode numbers on YouTube somehow got a little messed up, so I had to go back and I fixed it, so from here on out, we know where we're supposed to be at. I wish I had better news to give you folks, but I simply don't. It's been 11 days since my last podcast because of some family stuff and having to take care of a baby and all of that stuff. But since then, the Red Sox have won 2 series, and then we've also been swept. So since we talked last on May 4th, the Red Sox took 2 out of 3 against the Rangers, which is awesome because the Rangers wiped the floor with us at the beginning of the season. The Rangers are a pretty good team, although their record doesn't necessarily show it. And then we had 3 on the road against the Royals, and we wiped the floor with them in Game 2. And Game 3, we won 3-1. So we took another series against another really good team. And going into this last Tigers series, we just beat the Royals 10-1 and then 3-1. And we're like, okay, vibes are pretty good. The team's playing well. And then we just don't show up to play Monday against the Tigers. We lost 2-4, we lost 14-2 because Tanner Houck literally is the worst pitcher in professional baseball right now. It's like not even a discussion anymore. He just isn't what he used to be, but we will get into that in a little bit. Then we lose 2 straight 1-run games. Tuesday 10-9, lose against the Tigers, and then Wednesday in extra innings we lose 6-5. So the Tigers are the number 1 team to beat right now in the American League outside of the Yankees, and the fact that we got swept by them and it wasn't even close is concerning. And not only did we get swept, it's the first time the Red Sox have been swept all season. It's also the first time the Red Sox have been under 500 since the beginning of the year. Right now, our record is 22-23. What's weird is we are 4 games back of the Yankees, but we are in a technical tie with the Blue Jays, but we are still in second place because our win-loss percentage is literally 0.01 higher than the Blue Jays. The Blue Jays are 21-22. They have a winning percentage of .488. They are also 4 games back of the Yankees. We're 22-23. We are .489 and 4 games back. The Rays, believe it or not, are 1 game behind us. I'm not even kidding. This next series can lead to the Red Sox going from second place in the division to 4th. That big of a gap, because literally there's 1 game separating the Red Sox, the Blue Jays, and the Rays. Then you have the Orioles 15-27 with no help whatsoever down there in the bottom. So I'm going to get to a couple of things here, because clearly this team is not good right now, and there need to be changes made as soon as possible. So because of that, I'm going to make a couple of changes to the way this podcast is going to go. First of all, I'm scratching highlight player of the week because, I'll be talking about the 2 series prior to the Tigers series, but most of the good vibes that this team had got flushed down the toilet with that Tigers sweep. I'll be talking about Alex Cora. I will be going in depth, and it's what I'm going to start with on the Rafael Devers situation, because there are a lot of components that have to be analyzed when talking about the Rafael Devers situation and what is happening, why it's happening, and what I think is going to happen going forward. Then we are going to look at the next week and a half of games, because I won't lie, I don't know when I will be recording my next podcast, because my work schedule is now consistently changing, and I don't consistently have the same day off every week. So I will be looking at games from May 16th all the way until the end of the homestand, which is on May 25th. Because our schedule is rough. I won't lie. Now, given that the Orioles are not a good baseball team, it might be a little bit easier. But we historically have a huge problem beating the Orioles. Right now we have a huge problem beating anybody. But I'll get into that in a second. So before I get into anything, I'm not talking about anything that's going down in Worcester, but I will be getting to some Roman Anthony thoughts in this Rafael Devers segment. I'm skipping the historical moment because right now this team is not good enough for me to be jolly going about things as normal, because they're simply not a good baseball team. On paper, they're fantastic. Don't get me wrong. I mean, when you look at it, Crochet, Bregman, Bueller, Rafi Devers, like the list goes on, you could say, oh, this is one of the best teams in baseball. They should be one of the best teams in baseball. That's the problem. And the fact that we are 22-23, 45 games into the season, that's not a small sample size. That's not saying, okay, the first month, we are 45 games into a 162-game season. You can't simply say, oh, that 45 games doesn't matter. These 45 games will make or break whether or not you make the division, win the division, get into the wild card, or not. And right now, looking at the wild card, it's rough. Because, like, where are we supposed to fit? We have a losing record. The Mariners are leading in the American League West, and the Tigers are leading in the American League Central. I just realized something. If you take the Red Sox out of the American League East and you put them in the American League Central, the only team worse than us are the fucking Chicago White Sox. The Twins are 24-20. Royals are 25-20. Guardians are 25-18. And then the Tigers are one of the best teams in baseball. They're 29-15. I take that back. The Tigers are the best team in baseball with the best record. They are one win away from being the first team with 30 wins. But the fact that if you take the Red Sox out of our division and just throw them in the American League Central, the only team worse than us are the Chicago White Sox. Do you know how embarrassing that is? No, so this team is simply not good enough, and the fact that the Chicago White Sox would be the only team worse than us in the American League Central is simply embarrassing. And the fact that we claim to be a competitive baseball team, I mean, we are in the most competitive market in professional sports. You will not find another market where we demand success from every single one of our professional sports teams. Patriots, Bruins, Celtics, like the Red Sox. We're not the Chicago Cubs, the Kansas City Royals, some small market Tampa Bay Rays type team. We're the Boston effing Red Sox. Why are we okay with so much mediocrity? And the thing that gets me the most frustrated about the fact that we are now one game under 500 is this has been a continuation of nonsense baloney since the Mookie Betts trade in 2020. It doesn't matter what our lineup looks like. It doesn't matter who takes the ball for us on opening day. It doesn't matter who goes for us on what day of the season. We always find a way to either end the season at 500 or float around 500 for the entire effing thing. What sucked about last year, and I've already talked enough about last year as it is we spent, I want to say 2/3 of the season over 500, and then we came crashing down at the end. This offseason, we made a bunch of fantastic moves, trading for Crochet, signing Aroldis Chapman, getting Alex Bregman, doing all of this stuff, and then we somehow managed to get worse. It's like one of those things where you don't know who to blame except everybody involved. So I will be getting into blaming who, and it's going to be kind of weird, and I'm going to try and be very careful about who I blame it on, but there's only one person, in my opinion, or well, a group of people that you can blame it on, and it's the ownership group of the Boston Red Sox. Because obviously making Craig Breslow the chief baseball operations dude, your general manager, it's going to take him more than one season to turn the ship around, right? I think the course that the Red Sox have gone on since 2020 is a perfect reflection of what happens when ownership decides to stop trying. When we traded Mookie Betts, that was the biggest white flag that you can wave in professional sports. That is the we're done trying, we're not even going to invest in this team anymore. And they proved that in 2021. They made all of these small moves and said, okay, let's see what we have. And they got lucky. They caught lightning in a bottle, and we were 1 out away from being in the World Series. That doesn't mean we would have won the World Series, but if you run 2021 on a simulation, 9 times out of 10, we're not even making the postseason, let alone winning the wild card against the Yankees and going on and ultimately almost getting to the World Series. But I will get to ownership in just a minute, because that ownership, Chaim Bloom, Craig Breslow, and Rafael Devers are all coming into play in what I'm about to say. So, literally the day after my last podcast episode, Rafael Devers said some things through an interpreter who I have beef with, that basically was like, I'm not going to play first base. Now, the main problem with it is the fact that Rafael Devers is saying he doesn't want to play first base, but that's not all he's saying. His interpreter isn't really translating what Rafael Devers is saying accurately. What he's doing is Rafael Devers is saying some pretty controversial hot button topic things to him, and then because he is an employee of the damn team, he is regurgitating a toned down version of what he is saying. And one of the fans of Section 10, the podcast that kind of inspired me to make my own, somebody translated everything Rafael Devers said, and there's something in particular that I want to pinpoint and kind of pick apart. Now, on paper, at face value, Rafael Devers telling reporters, I am not going to play first base if I'm asked because that is not my job, sounds selfish. And don't get me wrong, Rafael Devers is partially wrong for saying that. However, Rafael Devers then goes on to say, I don't know what Craig Breslow's problem is with me as a player or as a person. You are the general manager of this team. It is your job, it is your responsibility to go out in the market and get yourself a replacement if a player gets hurt. Tristan Casas is done for the next 18 months at least, if not his entire career, because these type of injuries are not easy to come back from. Rafael Devers being the highest paid player on the team, everybody just assumes that he is going to move to first base. Part of the reason why he is so upset about being moved to first base is because of all of the drama from the beginning of the season when he moved from third base to DH. Rafael Devers was essentially told, you can throw your glove in the trash, we want you only focus on hitting. Tristan Casas blows out his knee. Oh, Rafael Devers, can you play first? No, you told me to throw my glove away. Yes, is Rafael Devers acting like a brat? Absolutely. But did he say something completely correct to Craig Breslow? Also, absolutely. Now, things like these don't necessarily come out that often. So when you have one of your franchise players telling you to your face, it is your responsibility to shop the market and get a replacement at first base. He also he kind of over-exaggerated a little bit. He went on to say, well, if I play first base, what happens if we need an outfielder? Are you going to expect me to play outfield? No. The reason why we want you to play first base is because you have good range. Rafael Devers' range was never the problem at third. It was his arm and his arm accuracy, to be more specific. But I am 100% behind Rafael Devers for calling out Craig Breslow and saying it is your responsibility to shop for a first baseman. Going into the offseason, the Red Sox knew, after literally missing almost the entire season last year, that first base depth was a problem. What did we do to solve it? Jack shit. So yes, I can totally understand why Rafael Devers is a little bit upset about Craig Breslow not signing a first baseman. Now, this is where ownership comes in, and Chaim Bloom. Rafael Devers has had to deal with ownership for the Red Sox being cheap since 2019. You can kind of make the argument since their last championship in 2018. We refused to pay Mookie Betts. We let Xander Bogaerts walk. We let JD Martinez walk. We got rid of Chris Sale. We got rid of Eduardo Rodriguez. We don't keep players. Put your thumb down. I did not realize that I had reactions on, but Rafael Devers is the longest tenured player on the Red Sox at this moment. He has had to endure 2 different president of baseball ops and the same ownership group. To me, it seems like Rafael Devers is exhausted of playing for a team that's in a big market but pays or plays like a small market team. Now, that's going to sound contradictory when I say that Rafael Devers is being paid $300 million over the next 11 years, but we only paid him that contract because there was literally nothing else that we could have done. If Rafael Devers doesn't get paid, ownership is getting fired. Now, Craig Breslow didn't sign that contract. Chaim Bloom signed that contract because there was literally nothing else that he could have done. If Chaim Bloom doesn't re-sign Rafael Devers to an extension, Chaim Bloom's beheaded body is being brought down Lansdowne Street, and that's a promise. Craig Breslow did not sign off on that $300 million contract. He inherited that $300 million contract, and what did he also inherit? Rafael Devers' personality. Now, Craig Breslow, as a former player, comes from the mindset of team first. Don't get me wrong, baseball is a team sport. That old saying, there is no I in team. That's absolutely correct. But what Rafael Devers said, calling out Craig Breslow, is completely accurate. And it doesn't speak just towards Craig Breslow, it speaks to ownership as a whole. John Henry in the Fenway Sports Group has been so cheap when it comes to paying players. I'm not going to include this past offseason, and I'll get to that in a second. When you look back at all of the free agents that we refuse to spend money on, we could be talking about an all-star rotation. But we let people like Corbin Burns walk to a different team. He's now playing for Arizona. We could have signed him this past offseason. Max Fried. Look at, and I know it sounds unreasonable, but like Shohei Ohtani was on the market 2 years ago. Juan Soto was on the market last year. Now, I've already made my statement about not wanting Juan Soto because of the amount of money. But there have been so many star players that have gone through free agency that the Red Sox were like, oh, we'll take a flyer on you, but we're not actually going to give you a contract. We also nitpick with our own players over the smallest amounts of money. We knew going into the offseason we had a lack of pitching in the bullpen, no first base depth, no third baseman, And the only thing we tackled, we got Aroldis Chapman, we got Alex Bregman, and that was it. There are holes bigger than the goddamn Grand Canyon on this team, and ownership will continue to simply ignore it. And the number one group of people that the way this team is playing is hurting the most are those in the minor leagues, the Roman Anthonys, the Marcelo Meyers. All of the people that are trying to make their way up into the big leagues are only being negatively impacted by ownership's lack of nutsack. They simply don't have the balls to say, okay, I'm going to spend and I'm going to invest in this team. They knew coming into the season we were short a reliever. They knew coming into the season Cutter Crawford had a bad knee that has been bothering him since 2023. They knew coming into the season Lucas Giolito was not a solution in our rotation. I will give ownership credit. They got Alex Bregman, which fixed third base. Guess what that did? Started drama with Rafael Devers. They got Garrett Crochet, which has been so far one of the best signings outside of Alex Bregman. They got Aroldis Chapman, who has looked phenomenal the entire season. They made 3 big moves, and you could make the argument that all 3 of those moves have worked. You know what hasn't worked? This frickin' lineup. Okay? Wilyer Abreu. I'm totally blanking. Wilyer Abreu, Alex Bregman, Rafael Devers makes up 73% of your entire team's offense since the beginning of the season. We no longer have a first baseman. And Trevor Story is basically back to sucking. He has, since his slump started in the middle of April, has been the worst hitter in Major League Baseball. He has a negative 12 WRC+. Ceddanne Rafaela has thankfully been better. Jarren Duran has been struggling. We have no catching depth because Connor Wong sucks ass. Our bullpen has blown more one-run leads than any other team in professional baseball. We are 4-12 in one-run ball games. There is nothing going right for this team, and I genuinely think that Rafael Devers basically calling out Craig Breslow is a reflection of that. Now, John Henry flew to Kansas City to meet with Rafael Devers personally, and I think that conversation went like this. So let's just pretend I'm John Henry. Rafael Devers, please shut the hell up. I genuinely think that's all the conversation was. According to Alex Cora, who was in the room, according to Craig Breslow, who was in the room, there was an open discussion. I genuinely don't think that Craig Breslow or John Henry really gave a flying fukuku about what Rafael Devers had to say. I genuinely think it was like being called into the principal's office. And I think that there is a ginormous triangle of discontent between Craig Breslow, Alex Cora, and Rafael Devers. If Alex Cora was the one from the beginning of the season who said, Rafael Devers, the team needs you to play first base, Rafael Devers would be the first one taking ground balls the next day. But because it's ownership and their goddamn reporters that are continuously stirring up all of this BS, Rafael Devers has every right to be angry. He has every right to call out Craig Breslow, and you can say I'm stupid on Twitter. I don't care. What Rafael Devers said about Craig Breslow and about ownership is completely true. Now, the reason why I am blaming ownership and not Craig Breslow is because he has been here for 1 year. Ownership has been here since basically the start of the decade. And in 2019, they made a financial shift. They said, okay, we just won in 2018. We have all of these homegrown stars. We know we're not going to pay them. It is time to suck ass. Then I had to witness the COVID year in 2020, which was arguably one of the worst Red Sox teams I have seen in my life. If you were to ask me to name the starting lineup from 2020, I would not be able to. If you asked me to name a single person outside of Chris Sale in the rotation, I would not be able to, because they are full of shit. Straight dog crap. Sums up 2020. Since then, it has been a cycle of baloney every single season. And what I'm worried about now is the trade deadline. And in particular, the fact that we have so many injuries to Cutter Crawford, Walker Buehler. Patrick Sandoval should be coming back from Tommy John surgery, and this is why I'm worried. Every single time the Red Sox need something at the trade deadline, ownership finds a way to say, well, this guy is coming back from injury, or this person is coming up from the minors. What I genuinely think this ownership team is going to do is wait for the trade deadline, trade away pieces, and call up the big three. When I say big three, I'm now talking about just Roman Anthony and Marcelo Meyer, because Kristen Campbell's already been up since the beginning of the season. But they're going to say, oh, we need starting pitching. Well, Patrick Sandoval's coming back. I almost said Pablo. God, Jesus. Patrick Sandoval is coming up. We have Roman Anthony coming up. We have Marcelo Meyer coming up. That's not good enough. That is simply not good enough. And what ownership needs to do is they need to make changes happen now. There were so many first basemen that we could have signed this past offseason and traded Tristan Casas. What aggravates me the most about Tristan Casas is he is known for having one half of a good season in 2023 and then nothing since. I would have signed Christian Walker and given him $112 million, for all I care, to play first base. He will always be better than Tristan Casas. I would have had Pete Alonso signed to play first base. Yes, his defense sucks, but that doesn't matter if he's hitting 45 home runs peppered all over the damn place. Like, there were so many other alternatives, but now our solution is Nick fucking Sogard at first base. Like, that doesn't do anything for me. I'm sorry, but Nick Sogard is not the solution at first base. And that is why so many people are angry at Rafael Devers, because he is not making a team first decision. Do I think eventually Rafael Devers will play first base? No, I do not. I genuinely think that he will refuse to play first base, and there will come a point in time where Alex Cora is told, Rafael Devers is the only first baseman you have on this team, and we will not have Rafael Devers play first. I genuinely think because Alex Cora is a player's manager, he will do what he believes is best for the players, not for the team. I love Alex Cora. He has made a lot of questionable decisions, but I think the biggest question that he has yet to answer is how he is going to handle the Rafael Devers and ownership drama, because the drama is not between Alex Cora and Rafael Devers. Rafael Devers and Alex Cora are like two peas in a pod. They have been here the longest. They know how to get through things together. Alex Cora and Rafael Devers share that same damn sentiment about ownership being so damn cheap. Like, we let Nate Eovaldi walk. We let Michael Wacha walk. Guess what both of those starting pitchers have done? Been the opening day starter and been phenomenal, and have both made all-star teams after leaving the Red Sox. Nick Pivetta, one of the lifelines of this rotation since 2020, we let walk in free agency, and he has been one of the better pitchers in the National League. Like, you could realistically be looking at a rotation of, I totally just blanked, of Garrett Crochet, of Walker Buehler, Nathan Eovaldi, Nick Pivetta, Michael Wacha. That is a all-star rotation by itself. But no, we have to deal with a hurt Cutter Crawford, a terrible Tanner Houck, Brian Bale's inconsistency, Lucas Giolito's inconsistency. Now, don't get me wrong, there were a couple of bright spots since our last episode. Alex Bregman is basically the best hitter outside of Aaron Judge. Hunter Dobbins looks like he is a bona fide ace for this team, which is amazing because that's supposed to be a depth piece down in AAA. But right now, the way that Hunter Dobbins has been pitching, you cannot send him down. Simply put, if the playoffs started tomorrow and the Red Sox were in a 7-game series, Hunter Dobbins is starting Game 3 without question. He might even be starting Game 2. So this team needs to perform better, and I think it starts with ownership. I think ownership, what they need to do is they need to make some noise. I think they need to go out, make a trade for a first baseman before the start of the next series on Friday. I think what that does is that tells the team, we know you're hurting, we see you, let me help you. Let me use that depth that ownership has been yapping about since 2022 and go out and get a piece. Go out and make a trade for somebody substantial in order to play first base, because Tristan Casas is no longer the first base solution. And it's just like long-term and short-term. Obviously, short-term, he's done for the next 18 months. But like long-term, you cannot pencil in Tristan Casas 100 games anymore. You simply can't do that. He has not shown you that he can do that. And you don't know if he's going to be okay coming back from this knee surgery. So what I would do if I was ownership, I'm calling the Athletics and I am saying, what do you want for Tyler Soderstrom? Have him play first, and that's your answer, short-term and long-term. Tyler Soderstrom has a lot of raw power. He has a bunch of home runs, and he's playing in a park. I can't even say that. He's not playing in... What am I talking about? Tyler Soderstrom has the power and the defensive capabilities to be your everyday first baseman. Coley Mick on the Section 10 podcast brought up a really good point, and it made me almost drop to my knees. I genuinely think the long-term solution that ownership is going to say is Yasmani Grandal at first base. What I think they're going to do is take Yasmani Grandal, call him up, put him at the catcher spot, and have Connor Wong play first base. And that is going to break me at my core. But what I would do, my solution, get a first baseman. That tells Rafael Devers and the rest of this team that ownership is invested. And the reason why I'm saying make that trade happen now is because you have literally the ending of this month, or else you are going to A, lose the locker room, and B, lose the fan base. And once you lose one or the other, the season's over. And I know I'm sounding very dramatic right now, and we are 45 games into the season, but we are teetering on abandoned ship territory right now. Because there's a chance that we go on a substantial, I'm not talking 1 or 2 games, I'm talking 6 or 7, substantial losing streak because of who we have coming up next. We have 3 at home against the Braves, who are underperforming, very similar to the Red Sox, but they have fantastic starting pitching, which we always struggle against. And then we have the New York Mets, one of the best teams in the National League. So we're looking at a very dim future ahead of us. The only hope we have after that are the Baltimore Orioles, and you don't know if they are going to magically turn the corner. Because a team performing that poorly usually turns it around at one point or another. We then have the Brewers again, the Brewers, and then the Braves again to end the month. So we have some of the hardest teams in baseball going into the start of June. And then guess who we play the first weekend in June? The frickin' New York blowhard Yankees. So we have a very difficult stretch of the season ahead of us, and we need to make some moves happen ASAP. If I'm the Red Sox, I'm taking Alex Spinellas, some of our pitching depth, maybe Luis Guerrero, maybe even, why am I blanking on his name? One of the starting pitchers we have down in AAA, and I am sending them to Oakland, or anybody who is willing to trade us a first baseman. And simply put, the reason why I think the Athletics would be the best fit is because they have a young first baseman named Nick Kurtz, who is performing phenomenal, and it's causing Tyler Soderstrom to move all over the field. They also have Jacob Wilson at shortstop, who has been one of the best hitters in the National League, batting average-wise. I genuinely think that they could make that move, get some long-term pieces to build around while also shaving off Tyler Soderstrom. I am then calling up Marcelo Meyer, and I am DFAing Trevor Story. I don't care what kind of money we owe him. Get his ass off this damn team. I know that Trevor Story had a great first month of the season, but that is now almost a month and a half past due. We are now looking at a full month and a half stretch where he has been the worst hitter in baseball. So, calling up Marcelo Meyer at short fixes the Trevor Story problem. I am then making Ceddanne Rafaela the utility man, getting rid of Romy Gonzalez, and then I am calling up Roman Anthony to play center. Now, there are a lot of moving pieces there. Don't get me wrong, and yes, that is going to gut some of the farm system, but there's no other option. You cannot have a consistent cycle of shit at first base and pretend like you can win anything without a first baseman. When you look at the last couple of championship teams, not just for the Red Sox, but for baseball in general, in 2018 we had Mitch Moreland. In 2013 we had David Ortiz. In 2017, in 2013 we also had Mike Napoli, who was the everyday first baseman. In 2007 we had Kevin Youkilis. In 2004 we had Doug Marabelli. So when you also look at like the Dodgers, Freddie Freeman, Atlanta Braves, Matt Olson, you cannot win a championship in the modern day of baseball without a cornerstone first baseman. It's simply not possible. So with that being said, it is really just up to ownership, and this is why I am 90% in favor of what Rafael Devers is saying. It is ownership's responsibility to get a first baseman. Yes, should he play first base? Absolutely. But that's on a team where ownership is not afraid to spend. Does his move to first base open up DH for Roman Anthony? Absolutely. Do I think Roman Anthony should be playing DH? No. So I don't think Rafael Devers moving to first base will solve the log jam in the outfield. So the way I see the Red Sox right now as it stands when we are 22 and 23, we are a shitstorm tornado. And there is nothing going right for this team. We have very, very little to look forward to because we have to face the Braves, the Mets. Yes, we have the Orioles. Then we have the Brewers, the Braves, then the fucking Yankees. So you're looking at a stretch where we win 5 of the next 15 games, and you're looking realistically at a chance of not only fighting for the 4th spot in the division, but the last spot in the division, let alone the fucking wild card. My prediction of a 93 win team, completely out the window. There's no chance in hell that this team is going to win 93 games. They'll be lucky if they win 83 games the way that this pace is going. So, there is literally nothing going right for this team right now. And I genuinely don't know what to say, what to think, what to do. Watching the Red Sox has become unbearable because anytime there's a close game, you know the bullpen's going to give it up. Like I said, we are 4-12 in one-run games. Anytime I see that we're going into extra innings, I know that game's over. I turned off Wednesday's game because the moment it was tied in the 8th, I said there's no chance in hell we're winning this game. So, sorry about 40 minutes of negativity. But that's what this team is right now. There is nothing going right for this Red Sox team at the moment. We don't have a first baseman. Our backup catcher sucks. Trevor Story sucks again. Most of our starting pitching is hurt. Right now, the only good thing going for this team is Alex Bregman and Garrett Crochet. That's it. Like, Rafael Devers offensively has been one of the, if not the best hitter in our division outside of Aaron Judge. But with all of the things going on in the background, it's hard to focus on those good things when you have people saying that Rafael Devers is fat, overweight, he could care less about the team, like all of this awful stuff that's simply not true. And it's just so hard to focus on the positives when all of this negative bull crap is going on in the background. So I don't know what this future holds for the Red Sox. We realistically could be talking about a team that is 28-40 by the middle of June. And if that is the case, then people are going to be fired. Alex Cora is probably going to be the first one. But I've already said it's not Alex Cora's fault. It is not Rafael Devers' fault. It is not Tristan Casas' fault. It is the ownership's fault for not investing in this team like the fans deserve. I mean, hell, you charge the most amount of money out of any professional team in baseball to go see in person. You also charge more money to see in market than any other streaming service. NESN 360 is $31 a month to watch the Red Sox. That is more than Netflix, Disney Plus, HBO, and Hulu combined. So not only is it more expensive to watch the Red Sox at home and in person than any other thing out there, the team also sucks. So the Red Sox are teetering on absolute implosion if things do not get better. So going into the Braves series, Game 1 Friday is a must-see showdown. Chris Sale versus Garrett Crochet. Put that bitch on a poster, put it in the newspaper. All eyes should be on Fenway Friday, May 16th at 7:10. Chris Sale is 1-3 with a 3.97 ERA and 64 strikeouts. His ERA is a little bit elevated because he started off really rocky to the season. Garrett Crochet, the head pig, basically been one of the best pitchers in the American League. Certainly the best left-handed pitcher in the American League. That's the other thing that concerns me. The Red Sox still suck against lefties, and guess what? Chris Sale's lefty. So that doesn't really seem like it's going good for us. Saturday, May 17th, 7:15 start time. We have Grant Holmes. I'm not familiar with, I won't lie. He's 2-3 with a 4.14 ERA and 44 strikeouts against Lucas Giolito, who is 1-1 with a 5.51 ERA and 14 strikeouts. His ERA, I won't lie, is very elevated because of that horrible start in the pouring rain against the Royals. So Lucas Giolito, he could either be good or he could be really shit. That game is also on Fox. So there's a chance that we could watch on Fox on live national television Lucas Giolito get his face shit on. Then on Sunday, May 18th at 1:35 p.m., we have Spencer Schwallenbach versus Brian Bayo. Spencer Schwallenbach is 2-3 with a 3.31 ERA and 46 strikeouts. Brian Bayo is 2-0 with a 2.33 ERA and 17 strikeouts. Brian Bayo did not look good in his last start, although he didn't allow any earned runs. So they're kind of like, you win some, you lose some. Spencer Schwallenbach has the capability and the potential to be the best pitcher on the Braves, and that says a lot. So I only see us winning one game out of this upcoming Brave series, and I think that's the Crochet game. I think Crochet sees how abysmal this team's doing coming off of a sweep, and I think he absolutely shoves it down the dick of every single person on the Atlanta Braves. I genuinely think that this could be a breakout game for Garrett Crochet. I'm talking 7 innings, 14 strikeouts type of a breakout game. But who knows? The Atlanta Braves have a ton of swing and miss. Matt Olson in particular. They don't have Ronald Acuna Jr., so they're missing some of that star power in their lineup. But their rotation does concern me because they also have a lot of high K per 9 percentages, and the Red Sox strike out more than any other team in baseball. So we're looking at a very grim outlook for the most immediate series. We then have 3 against the Mets. Now, the only Mets pitcher that has been announced is for Monday, May 19th. It's Kodai Senga. It's probably going to be Hunter Dobbins against Kodai Senga, but there's a chance that it's Walker Buehler. I heard that he's coming back. He has a rehab start soon. So who knows what happens there, but it's probably going to be a combination of Hunter Dobbins, Walker Buehler, Garrett Crochet, some order of that. We do also have no off days between literally today and the end of this month. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 games in a row. 10 of those are at home. Our next off day is the 19th. So we need health. We need people to remain as healthy as possible. So my plan, realistically speaking, is to record. Today is Thursday the 15th. I want to try to record before the Orioles series, but I don't think that's going to be possible. We might be talking about the 25th being my next recording date. Everything's just kind of all over the place right now, but I really hope that this team improves the roster and improves their play. The bullpen needs to be better. Garrett Whitlock needs to be better. And the reason why I say you cannot put blame on Alex Cora is because Alex Cora isn't telling these bullpen arms, Greg Weissert, oh, let's just throw a slider down the middle of the plate to Javi Baez because he didn't just hit a 3-run home run earlier in the game, right? Who cares? No. Greg Weissert left a meatball down the dick and the Tigers walked it off because that's what good major league teams do. So maybe we talk about something positive, and if there's any sort of trade breaking news, call-ups or anything, I will report that out on my Twitter. But right now, this team is not looking very good. The vibes are horrible, and there's nothing going right for this team. There simply is nothing going right for this team. And Red Sox fans that are emotionally and financially invested in this team are starting to get sick and tired. And if this losing continues, or if this hovering around 500 continues for any more of the season, I genuinely think people are going to start losing their jobs. So I do apologize for all of the negativity. I do apologize for some of the swearing, but it's how Red Sox fans feel. And it's rough because it's injuries, but it's also ownership refusing to invest in this team. It's ownership refusing to do what's best for the team, and it's ownership refusing to do what's necessary to make us competitive. Now, that's not to say that we haven't been underperforming. That doesn't excuse all the players from sucking, but investment from ownership, I genuinely think, is what this team needs to succeed.